Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. I have for you a pretty DIY Christmas decor piece today using the unfinished wood Christmas tree from Hobby Lobby. This is a fun project with lots of creative versatility, so stick with me. I will offer you a myriad of creative options for this piece. This piece, for example, would be great on a fireplace mantle or a foyer table or a buffet table, just to name a few. Welcome to all to my channel today, and if you enjoy this tutorial, please give this video a thumbs up and leave me your comments and tell me what you think you would do with this unfinished wood Christmas tree from Hobby Lobby. Okay, let me show you how I created this Christmas tree made from the Christmas tree, this exact one from Hobby Lobby. This Christmas tree is about 14 inches tall and around 8.5 inches at the widest portion of the piece. This is $6, $5.99 minus 50%. So for $3, you have this nicely constructed wood piece that you can create any type of look that you like in any theme. Now I am going to cover my wood Christmas tree with one of my very favorite scrapbook papers from Hobby Lobby. This is in the single sheet section. I always wait until the scrapbook papers go on sale for 40% off. So I purchased this scrapbook paper, which I am going to use on the Christmas tree. However, you could do this piece and any scrapbook paper, or you could do it in 4 different types of scrapbook paper, meaning that you could use 4 different patterns because there are 4 sections on that Christmas tree, which would be really cute. If I weren't doing this one, I would be doing that. I would be choosing 4 different patterns because I just love mixing it up. I have there some Waverly chalk paint and the color plaster because it's kind of an off-white, which is suited to that scrapbook paper. I have there some Mod Podge, which I'm going to apply that scrapbook paper to the wood Christmas tree cutout. I'm going to be using the heat method for my particular piece, but you don't have to use that. So I'll be using my mini Cricut heat press. Now this star came from a package of stars in the Christmas department at the Dollar Tree. This is a pretty star, and I am going to paint it gold and glitter it up. Now, as well, you could, instead of using a star at the top, you could do a bow topper, which I love to do that as well. I do bow toppers on my Christmas trees, so I'm a big fan of that. If I hadn't used the star, I would have done that. Okay, you'll need a sponge applicator, which they have most anywhere that they sell craft supplies. They do have them at the Dollar Tree. Now, I'm going to be using an X-Acto knife, and I'll explain to you why here in just a bit. But as you can see, this wood piece is constructed in 4 sections that comprises the tree part of the decor piece, and then it also has a stand. Now, I do have some little random pieces of greenery here, which I'm going to place at the bottom of the Christmas tree. Now, the one that I have there on top is a Dollar Tree piece of greenery, which I absolutely love that greenery. It's very frosty. It just looks frosty to me, like snow, and I love that. Okay, so I have this scrapbook paper, which kind of has like a pearlish type of finish. It's very it's like pearls. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's very, very beautiful. And I have here some little pearl beads. They're actually in the shape of a flower, but they look kind of like stars. So I thought I would dress up my tree with those. Now, you could do a whole myriad of different things with your tree, and I'll talk more about that in just a bit. I have a few different types of ribbon here because I am going to be creating a little bow for the base of the tree to go on top of the greenery. And I have here as well, I got these at Hobby Lobby in a package. They're like little tiny miniature live edge pieces with a hole in them that says Merry Christmas. I'm going to attach that to my bow as kind of like a bow charm, if you will. I'll talk more about that later. I have here some metallic gold paint. I'm going to be painting that star gold. And I'm also going to be glittering that star up with glitter from Hobby Lobby. They do have glitter right there. It looks like that in that type of container at the Dollar Tree. And it's usually in the Crafter's Square section. You'll need the regular crafting tools, scissors, hot glue gun, Aleene's tacky glue, and a paintbrush. All right, so I have here my wood piece. Now, this does not come apart. So in the back, as you can see, all of those 4 sections are mounted on a piece of wood. So I'm not going to cover the back of that with scrapbook paper. I'm just going to paint it. I'm going to paint the back, the base, the trunk of the tree, the sides, and just a little tiny bit of the front, just in case any of the edges show on the outer perimeter of the tree. So I just applied 1 coat of chalk paint in the color plaster. And if you are using scrapbook paper on your tree, which I'm assuming that you may be doing that, just go ahead and paint the back, the sides, and the base of the tree. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint my star with this metallic gold paint. There is a little hole, as I guess this was intended to be like an ornament, in the way they are sold in the package from Dollar Tree. But I'm just going to take a little bit of Mod Podge and kind of collect it in the hole and then sprinkle glitter over it. And that's how I'm just going to camouflage that hole. I don't feel the need to get out any spackle for that. So after that's all dry, I just take a sponge applicator and I cover the entire star all the way out to the points of the star with Mod Podge. And then I'm just going to sprinkle that fine gold glitter on there. I'm going to do the front and the back. So I'm going to try and finish the back of the piece as much as possible. But I'm not going to be putting scrapbook paper on the back because of that piece of wood. But I am going to do the back of the star, like I said, just as much as I possibly can finish the back of the piece I'm going to. So I'm just going to tap my gold glitter over the container over the star on a paper plate so that I can dump any excess back into the jar. Now, if you were going to, you could do this star in any type of glitter color that you like. You could do it in silver, you could do it in red, white, whatever you like. This piece has a lot of versatility and that you can use so many different types of scrapbook paper. You could paint it if you want to, but I think that if you add this scrapbook paper, that's where you're going to get your visual interest because there are so many scrapbook papers available. You can go in the single sheet scrapbook section at Hobby Lobby, and you can also get booklets of scrapbook paper for 50% off right now, as well as you could pick those up at Michael's as well. All right, let me show you how I cut my scrapbook papers to fit on each of these sections. I let the base of my tree rest on the edge of the table so that I could place my Christmas tree upside down or face down on the table right at the edge so that I can trace around my first section of that tree. Now I'm going to use an X-Acto knife because you're never going to be able to fit a pencil through those little crevices that's in between the sections of the Christmas tree. If you use an X-Acto knife, that will fit through here perfectly, and it will score your paper so that on the sides you can use your pencil lines to cut out, and then for the top of each section you will have your scored scrapbook paper line so you can cut that out. Now, if you want to just put one single sheet over this piece, you could do that, but you're going to have to turn your paper sideways in order to do that. And you're going to have to be very careful to pay attention to the direction of the pattern, whatever you choose for your scrapbook paper. For me, I'm going to do mine section by section. Now, this, let me back up and say that this piece of scrapbook paper is going to fall short in size if you do it as I did mine, placing it on the paper as I did mine, by about an inch at the top. Unless you turn it sideways and you have a type of scrapbook paper where the pattern does not matter. There's no directional pattern. Okay, so I'm showing you how to do this. Now, mine would have been pretty in one single sheet, but I wanted to show you how to do the individual sections. If you want to use different scrapbook papers for each of the sections of the tree, which is something that I think would be so cute. So I just wanted to go ahead. I'll do mine that way, show you how to do yours. All right, now I'm doing my second section. I'm aligning my paper up with the edge, or I'm aligning my tree up with the bottom edge of the paper. Now that I have it on there straight, I took my pencil, outlined the sides. Now I take my X-Acto knife and score that scrapbook paper. Now this works perfectly. So again, it's all relative, the type of scrapbook paper pattern that you use. If you use something like polka dots or candy canes that are just randomly all over the paper, you're not going to have to worry about a direction. But just be careful what kind of scrapbook paper you use, and then just accordingly cut your sections. Okay, so I'm following right along my scored lines, cutting out my pieces. And I can trim up anything with a pair of good scissors. You can, if you use scrapbook paper, especially if you use a lightweight scrapbook paper, you can just trim up the edges with scissors, but you can use a sanding block or a zip sander or any type of file to clean up the edges. Okay, now I'm going to do the third section. See how I line up the bottom line, or the straight line across the bottom, with the paper. Use my pencil. And then I will use my X-Acto knife to score the top, so I know where to cut my third section. And then I'll just cut that out with my scissors. Now you're going to see here in just a minute how that top piece, which is kind of like a triangular piece, just falls a little bit short. That paper falls a little bit short of being long enough. So what I'm going to do is just piece it together because I have the excess paper. I'm only going to use one piece of scrapbook paper, but I'm just going to piece it by trying to match up the pattern as close as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect. So there's section number 3. And then all they have to do here is do the top section at the very top of my tree. And again, just paying attention to the pattern that I'm using on my Christmas tree. Now you could, like I said, be very creative with this piece. You could use different types of scrapbook paper. You could decorate the tree with little tiny beads or little tiny little sparkly gems. Or you could just leave it with scrapbook paper only. It would be so cute. Put some greenery at the bottom, or you could get some of those little miniature gift boxes, those little tiny ones that they sell in a package, and put those around the bottom of the tree. Do it in like a cute rustic or country or farmhouse type pattern. That would be super cute. Like I said, if I hadn't done this one, I would have done that. I would have made each section a different scrapbook paper. And probably I would have put a bow at the top. But this star is nice too. I stayed with kind of that pearly, kind of off-white color for mine, with touches of gold. So that was my preference for this one. But you could as well do white and silver. You could mix up silver scrapbook papers with different patterns. Oh, that would be so pretty. Like a white with a silver polka dot, a white with silver swirls, a white with silver snowflakes. Oh my gosh, that would be so pretty. Like I said, you could do so much with this piece. You could do a few of these and put them together and just create interesting patterns with your scrapbook papers. And they all go together, but they're just a little bit different. Oh, I think that would be so pretty. Okay, so onward. I'm going to take my sponge applicator. I like to put my Mod Podge in a squirt bottle for obvious reasons, as you can see here. And I'm going to let mine dry because I'm going to be using my mini Cricut heat press, but you don't have to use that. If you don't have one, no problem. Just apply your scrapbook paper. If you're using a regular scrapbook paper, just use a piece of balled up saran wrap and just smooth that over your paper after you put that paper right on the damp Mod Podge. And I say regular scrapbook paper because this scrapbook paper, this one that I'm using, it's very unique type of material. It's kind of like a cross between a fabric and a paper. It's just really beautiful. Almost feels like a piece of wallpaper. That's the closest thing I could think of to what it feels like or seems like to me. But it's just a very pretty paper. If you follow my channel, you've seen me use this before for my wood Easter bunnies and on ornaments, and I just love this paper. One of my absolute favorites. So if you're going to use a mini Cricut heat press, go ahead and do that now. I just go over my scrapbook paper, make sure I have it on there very precisely onto this section. Make sure I go out to the edges, cover my whole entire piece. What I'm doing here is just reactivating that dried Mod Podge, and that will seal that scrapbook paper very beautifully to that wood. This is one of my favorite methods of adhering scrapbook paper to a surface. Now, any trimming up that I need to do, I just did mine with scissors. I really don't like to use a sanding block or a zip sander on this particular scrapbook paper. But if I were using just a regular scrapbook scrapbook paper, if I could speak here, oh goodness me, I would use a sanding block. That would be fine. Now, another thing that I would do differently, and you could see here that I was trying to kind of accentuate or delineate those crevices in between the wood pieces. Now, there's not a lot of room in between there. That's why I couldn't use a pencil, and I had to use a X-Acto knife. So I was thinking that I wanted to create, to be able to see more so those division lines between the wood. And again, if I were using a regular scrapbook paper, I think I would take like a spatula, a crafting spatula, and just run it through those crevices to try and delineate the crevices a little bit more. But I am going to end up with my piece here. I am going to place some thin, narrow ribbon with gold trim along those crevices. And I'll show you that here in just a bit, but it's another option for this piece. Now you can either accentuate the lines, delineate them, or you can delineate them in a different way. And that's what I'm going to do with my very pretty narrow ribbon with the gold trim that I got. It's a Celebrate ribbon from Michaels. I'll show you that here in a bit. Now I'm going to take my little pearl. They're flowers, but they kind of reminded me of stars. So I decided to use them. Now I'm following along the pattern on this scrapbook paper. You can't see it from this vantage point looking down on it, but it has a specific pattern. And I'm placing a pearl flower on each of the sections of the pattern, which that's not going to make much sense to you because you can't really see it very well, but I'm just following along the pattern. I took a toothpick. I put some Aleene's Tacky glue on a paper plate. I dipped the toothpick in the glue. There. Can you see the pattern there? Okay. So then I take my craft tweezers and I pick up one of my little pearl flowers, place it down in the dab of glue, and I did that all over the area of that Christmas tree. Now I'm going to show you how I decided, since I didn't have the kind of delineation of those lines that I was looking for, I decided to use this narrow ribbon with the gold trim, and I'm going to place it right over those crevices. Now you could do this as well, even if you use a different scrapbook paper for each section. Maybe you're doing a farmhouse style or rustic style, or maybe you're using a little gingham check. You could use this idea and just use a ribbon that matches accordingly. But anyway, so I went ahead and I put all my ribbons down. I also put a strip right across the bottom. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to go back, take my scissors, and just snip off the excess ribbon. But this really finished up this the body of this Christmas tree. Now this piece is a little bit more on the, I don't want to say elegant, but more elegant than if I were dressing this tree up in a farmhouse style or a country style, or just a whimsical style with fun prints that you can get. Oh, scrapbook papers come in so many different really fun prints. So look for scrapbook papers that you really love, mix it up, and have fun with the piece. You can use ribbons here, not use ribbons here, or you could take a spatula and just run it along the crevices and show your separation of the sections like that. Or maybe you just want to use one solid piece. You could do that as well. Okay, so now for the base of my tree, I am going to just place a little bit of greenery around the sides a little bit in the back to finish that up or finish it off in the back. And I'm just going to hot glue that right to that wood tree base. Now, I wanted to put a little bow. I wanted to dress this piece up further. I have the gold star on top. I have a little bit of the gold trim on the narrow ribbons that divide the sections of the wood tree, but I wanted something else on the bottom. And so I deliberated on what I was going to do. You can see there I made like a little bow with some gold snowflakes on it. I ended up not using that. I kept having a change of mind. So I have this very narrow ribbon, the same one that I used to divide the sections of the tree. And I'm just going to do a few figure 8 loops. And I do this just by folding over my ribbon, pinching it in the center, folding it under, pinch it between my fingers, fold it over. Now you can do little bows whatever way that you like. Maybe you have a particular way that you like to do yours. So I did that, and then I'm just going to take a little pipe cleaner, one of the gold tinsely ones from the Dollar Tree. Now, I do use these for little tiny bows because Dollar Tree's pipe cleaners are very flimsy. But in this case, I prefer that. I don't prefer it for doing a deco mesh wreath, for sure, but for these little bows, because it's a flimsy type of pipe cleaner, it twists very easily, it wraps very easily. And so I am creating a little figure 8 bow, and I keep thinking I'm going to use this bow, and I ended up not using it at all. But I ended up creating another one with a little solid gold glitter ribbon. It's a solid gold, but it's more narrow than that one I have in my hand. So I just kept kind of going back and forth. What am I doing? What am I not doing? But I definitely wanted some gold color on the bottom of the tree base. So I went into my ribbon stash and I found this ribbon. It's a very narrow, shiny ribbon, glittery ribbon. And I'm just going to do a very simple 4 loop bow using the figure 8, fold over, fold under, fold over, fold under. I left a little bit of a tail. Now I'm going to take that pipe cleaner again, wrap it around the center here to hold those loops. And that's what I'm going to use for the base of my bow. Then I'm going to take those other 2 little bows that I made with the white narrow ribbon, the very narrow ribbon, and I'm just going to pop those on top of that bow, because I wanted just a little bit of visual interest there at the bottom. I had created 2 of those, by the way. So sometimes when I'm doing a very small bow, I just put it together with a dab of glue. That's what I'm doing here. I like to take needle nose pliers and squash things together when I'm doing a little bow like this. It really helps to get a good flush application. Now I have my that little miniature, I call it live edge, wood piece that says Merry Christmas. I think it is so cute, and I wanted some type of little embellishment at the base of my tree. So I decided to take that narrow ribbon and poke it through the hole in the top of that little live edge piece. And you're going to see me do this here in just a minute. And I'm going to attach it to that bow as if it's like I want to call it a bow charm. And here's that piece. I just put the narrow ribbon right through the little hole that's provided on there. And then I'm going to attach it right down the center of my bow that I created. And this is going to be my little bow charm. I don't know if there is such a thing as a bow charm, but now there is because I just created it. Kind of reminds me of the ornament that I did with the musical notes, my little musical notes on my ornaments that I just did in my previous video. Okay, back to this. I'm just going to attach this by wrapping it around the center. And then to finish off this piece, I wanted a little something in the middle. So I decided to take those little pearl flowers and I placed 3 of those in the center of this bow. And that coordinated well with the little embellishments, the little pearl flowers. See that? It looks pretty. Isn't that nice? So that coordinates very well with the little pearls that I put on the tree. Now I'm going to place my bow into my greenery off to the left side. And I'm just going to simply hot glue that into the greenery. And then my little charm will just be kind of resting on the front of that tree base. So just hot glue that on. And then we have one more thing we're going to do with this tree. I decided that the sides needed a little bit of finishing. Now, if you do this in sections with your scrapbook paper, you can do this same idea by placing any type of ribbon around the edge, like I'm going to do. It's a nice little finishing touch, or you can just leave it like it is. You do you, whatever you like. But I'm going to take a little bit of that narrow ribbon with the tiny gold trim, and I'm going to start at the base of my tree. Just put a little dab of glue there, and I'm going to just wrap that around the entire perimeter of the tree. Now this added a nice little finishing touch to the edges or the sides of the tree. So every little bit of area there, I just put a dab of glue just to keep the ribbon secure on there. I want to say every 3 or 4 inches, a little dab of glue. I'm going to go all the way around the perimeter of that tree until I get back to the base. And there we have it. Our piece is all dressed up and the sides look much more finished now. The back as much as it possibly can be. And now it's time to place that gold glitter star on there. If you're doing a bow, that would be the time that you place the bow. Now I'm trying to figure out where I'm placing this star, and I don't know why I have it on here like this, because that is so not the way that it needs to go on there. I don't know what I'm thinking there, but I do there. I came to my senses there, and I'm just going to place that star on there by hot gluing it. And that was the last thing that I did for this piece, because while I was working on the piece, I didn't want to have to worry about banging that star and possibly loosening it or knocking it off. So here we have it. It's very simple, it's very pretty, and it's very inexpensive and very easy to make. And a piece with so much versatility. And here you have it, the finished product. If you like what you see on my channel, please remember to subscribe. I have lots of Christmas decor coming up. A beautiful wreath is coming up next. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And as well, let me know what you think of this piece and what you would do with yours. Okay, until next time, you all take care.